Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session on the ESA Academy activities. This is our 5th session in the ESA Careers Week. And I am today with Joost van Huysel and Jeffrey Gorison. My name is Florence and I am moderating this session. I'm working in the HR department. We have seen such a nice video right now on the ESA Academy activity, one of the ESA Academy activities. So thanks for sharing this with us, Joost and Jeffrey, and you will have the opportunity, of course, to tell us much more about what you do in your team. But what I would like to, before I give you the floor to introduce yourself, maybe, what I would like to say to everybody, to our participants, is that the ESA Academy is the ESA overarching program for undergraduate to PhD level students. And in this session, you will be informed on the different opportunities we have, ranging from training courses to the manufacturing of satellites and what it takes to participate in them. And finally, Joost and Jeffrey will, of course, provide some insight into the evolving future of ESA Academy program. But okay, to start with, and before we dive into really the program, Joost, you want to say a word first on who you are, and then we will give the floor to Jeffrey.
Okay, thank you, Florence. Good afternoon, everybody. So as said, my name is Joost. Today I'm the head of the ESA Academy. I have a background in electromechanical engineering, a master, which I have complemented with another master on space studies, an interdisciplinary master related to space studies. And I have joined ESA about 10 years ago, first as a young graduate trainee. So I hope we have some people in the audience that may also be interested in that. And that is also the reason why next to me we have Jeffrey, who is a YGT in our office. And I will give him the floor as much as possible, as we like to have the young people and the young graduates speaking to you. So today I am head of ESA Academy. As Florence introduced, it's the program targeting university level education. Our objective is to help prepare the future generation of space scientists, space engineers, policymakers, entrepreneurs in the space sector. And we do that by offering a number of educational opportunities to university level students today. So I will conclude here. We have a lot more to present, but first I pass the floor back to Florence and Jeffrey.
Yes, thank you, Joost. In fact, maybe we will have time later to maybe speak a little bit more of how you came to this position in the agency. And as you know, before we had a session on the entry-level programs with a few YGTs on the floor and tutors. And now we have, with you, we have Jeffrey, who is working in your team and who will tell us about now who he is. And then again, we will come back to the YGT position maybe in more details, Jeffrey. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Joost, and thank you, Florence, and welcome to everyone participating in this live stream. So I'm Jeffrey Gorison. I have a master's in industrial engineering with a focus on electronics and IT, so a bit of both roles. And I'm currently doing a YGT, as mentioned before, in a support engineering role for the gravity-related experiments for university students.
Okay, thank you very much to you too. So as I said before, we will have the opportunity to come back on, let's say, this position also as a young graduate trainee at ESA. And for now, I will again give the floor to Joost to present us what is the ESA Academy. That's very exciting. I'm super happy to be here with you and looking forward to this presentation.
Okay, thank you. So as said, we aim to really help preparing the next generation for a space-related career. Our objective here is really to support the European space sector in creating the talents, complementing the academic studies of students with opportunities that can give them some either hands-on experience or training experience in a space-related domain. We do this by collaborating very closely. We are part of the Technology, Engineering and Quality Directorate, but we collaborate very closely with all ESA directorates. So our most efficient means to allow for the training of the young people is to enable a transfer of knowledge from specialists that are located in all the different ESA directorates to students by offering opportunities, being it hands-on opportunities or projects or more classroom type of training in which you as a student can learn directly from a professional by collaborating on a project, by being guided on, for example, developing a small satellite or running an experiment on the International Space Station, or by following lectures offered by professionals from ESA or from industry and from academia through collaborations we have with them. So in our program, the ESA Academy program, we have a number of, let's say, guiding principles, namely that our opportunities are always free of charge. They are always open to citizens from all ESA member states and cooperating states on a competitive basis, meaning that we submit or publish calls for opportunities or calls for applications, after which students or student teams can submit an application with a letter of motivation or a proposal for an experiment that is being judged by a board, and subsequently there is a selection of students that can take part in the activities. Now, when these days we speak about ESA Academy, I always have to speak about the ESA Academy today and the ESA Academy tomorrow. Because we are going through an important evolution with our program, I will present the evolution later towards the end of the presentation. But now I would first like to invite Jeffrey to present the way we are structured and the different program opportunities that we offer and how you can take part in them. Thanks already.
Thank you, Joost. So, like Florence already said in the beginning, ESA Academy is really the overarching educational program for university students. But it's not only for students in space-related fields, it's also open for students from science fields and also engineering, like myself and Joost originally are from engineering fields. And ESA Academy has two main pillars forming its foundation. And this is the hands-on programs in which enables students to gain first-hand and an end-to-end experience for space-related opportunities, like seen here. And on the other hand, there's also the training and learning program. And this offers a wide portfolio covering a variety of topics for students to learn about. I'll first dive a little deeper into the hands-on programs. So this is Spin Your Thesis. In Spin Your Thesis, student teams can apply, students being bachelor, master, and PhD students, apply to do an experiment in a large diameter centrifuge. The centrifuge is located in ESTEC, the ESTEC ESA site in the Netherlands, and it offers a range of hypergravity ranging from 1G, which we all know on planet Earth, up to 20 Gs, which is 20 times the gravity we are all experiencing right now. So it's a 2.5, 3-day campaign at ESTEC in which the students develop a payload, they experiment, and afterwards they come back with their conclusions. Currently, we do not have any open calls, but it's always nice to look for the open calls when available. If we move on to Drop Your Thesis, it's a bit further east in Germany, where we have the ZARM drop tower. And this offers microgravity up to a level of 10 to the minus 6 Gs. This is equal to the level of gravity that you can experience on the ISS. So it's really high quality gravity. And the maximum duration, which is in a catapult mode in which we launch a capsule up and then it falls back down, maximum duration is 9.3 seconds roughly. So students here, bachelor, master, or PhD students, they can develop their experiment and they can do 5 drops. So it's a 1 week integration and testing week, and then a 1 week testing. And this is done once a year. There is some development in here with the GraviTower Pro, in which more frequent experimentation can be done. Then we have FlyOrthesis, one of the most wanted platforms to experiment on. It's an Airbus A310 operated by Novespace in France, Bordeaux. And here we have a microgravity quality of 10 to the minus 2. But the big difference here is that it's 22 consecutive seconds of microgravity. And teams participating in FlyOrthesis, they get 3 flights of 31 parabolas to experiment on. Here we do have a starting limit for master students and PhD students because it's a bit more difficult to do an experiment on this platform. Next up is to really orbit your thesis. And this is done using the ISS as a platform with help from the IceCube facility. Like I said, with Drop Your Thesis, it's the gravity level of 10 to the minus 6. And in orbit, you can spend up to 4 months in microgravity, which is a big change from the other platforms we've seen up to now. And the student level that we require here is a basis of PhD students helped by master and bachelor students, depending if the basis of the amount of students is fulfilled or not. Orbit Your Thesis is a bit more ad hoc, so it depends on the availability on the station as well. Then going to rockets. Every 2 years, it's also possible for bachelor level students to fly their own rocket. It's a sounding rocket that is flown from the Andøya Space Center in Norway. And it's an online course and a rocket launch campaign that takes about 5 days, but it's also currently closed for applications. When we take this to another level, we are going to the ENriches campaigns. It's a rocket experiment for university students. This is again a sounding rocket, but this is launched from S-Range in Sweden. Provides up to 10 to the minus 4 level of gravity. And this platform offers you about 2 minutes of microgravity. So it's a development of the experiment and the launch campaign. It's repeated every year normally, and it's available for bachelor, master, and PhD students to propose their experiment. Next to the ENriches, we also have BEXUS, which is a stratospheric balloon, which is also launched from the same place as ENriches. The difference is that with the balloon, you have 2.5 hours of floating in the upper layers at about 20 to 30 kilometers of altitude. And same specifics as with ENriches. It's once a year, also for bachelor, master, and PhD students. One of the more interesting and also more difficult platforms we offer is through the Flyer Satellite program. In this program, ESA Academy supports the development of a CubeSat from design, build, test, launch, and the operation of that satellite. Due to the length of the experiments and the projects done here, it's about every 2 to 3 years, and it's larger university student teams with a variety of educational levels. To support this, there's also a dedicated CubeSat support facility. This is in Belgium, ESA Galaxia, and it's especially to support the design, integration, and the testing of CubeSats like thermal vacuum testing, etc. They have a whole range of equipment, as also shown here, that is needed to validate if a CubeSat is ready for flight. Now, going back to the training and learning program, they also have a dedicated facility in ESA Galaxia in Belgium. And they offer a lot of sessions, about 1 to 2 per month. And it's every time it's 1 to 2 weeks of intensive training courses. And it's geared towards all levels of education, bachelor, master's, PhD. And there are regular open calls to apply for these training sessions. So the hands-on programs are more for team-based applications. You form a team and you join, while the training and learning program can be joined on an individual basis as well. With this, I would like to give the word back to Joost.
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. We can stick on this slide for a second. I just want to, on the previous one, I mean, because I would like to just complement very briefly that these are programs that really offer quite a unique opportunity. The exchange with specialists, or at least with professionals from industry and ESA, we have seen it. It can be really a boost for students and young professionals in their early career. When we monitor where our alumni are going, we see them spread across the European space sector, the global space sector, working at agencies, being it national agencies or ESA, or in the large system integrators like Airbus, OHB, etc., or starting their own companies, startups. So it's really unique opportunities, at least based on the feedback we get from our alumni, and very rewarding. In many of these programs, you get to experience an international project with really the ability to follow it from end to end, meaning you start from the design of an experiment and you go all the way to operating it in space or running the experiment in a professional facility or in the training and learning program. Okay, you have to be prepared to enter into quite an intensive week or few weeks of training, but it's very pleasant. There's a good atmosphere. You are surrounded by very motivated fellow students, which is really rewarding as an opportunity. Maybe also a small note regarding the hands-on programs that were presented, in particular these gravity-related programs. We didn't yet get the approvals to send along students up there, but let's hope one day, maybe through the current astronaut recruitment process, we can talk with Florence. But in any case, thanks a lot, Jeffrey, for presenting the activities. As said, we need to speak also about the future, simply because we're going through this evolution. Florence.
Yes, Joost or Jeffrey, I have a question that comes to my mind before you continue. Do you know how many students are involved in all these activities in a year?
Yeah, so for the training and learning program, the more classroom type of activities, we have about 700 seats per year that we offer. Unfortunately, or fortunately, because it shows a success, but we have many more applications. And we are also aiming for an expansion of this program with either additional facilities, increased usage of the facility, and a transfer to more online activities. But today it's in the order of 700 students per year. And then with the hands-on programs, we have about 1,000 students per year that we involve directly.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sure we will have the opportunity to speak about that later also. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Florence. Yes, so on the future of ESA Academy, we have run a consultation with the ESA member states, with industry, with academia, because we are preparing the long-term vision for the ESA Academy program. namely to address the challenges, the societal challenges, the challenges that industry is faced with, as well as the evolution of the space sector and the evolution of the educational sector. So we have made a synthesis and we try to, let's say, steer our program to better meet the needs of industry and the space sector in the coming years and in the coming decades. And because of this, we are working on a brand new program where we will use new models, new methodologies, such as organizing challenges and hackathons, but also using different types of platforms, for example. And quite importantly, we aim to increase our target audience and to diversify it. Meaning, we would not only focus on STEM students, but we would enlarge our portfolio of opportunities to also fit the background of non-STEM students. So students in architecture, in agriculture, urbanists, law, entrepreneurship, etc. More and more they can benefit from what we call downstream applications. So Earth-based services making use of satellite data. And we aim to train people in what applications can be made from space and how you can create services by making use of those space data. Second, we also aim to enlarge our portfolio of opportunities to early career professionals. So these are young professionals, or they can be professionals coming out from another sector, let's say from the automotive sector, that want to reorient their career and start a career in the space sector. And then with a new type of opportunities, we also aim to train students that sometimes we call are engaged in vocational training, or so in other countries it's called the professional bachelors, basically technicians. So students that are doing extremely important work with, for example, soldering or working with electronics or machining, material processing, etc. More the hands-on work. And then another, let's say, expansion or broadening of our program is in terms of the subjects that we cover. They are not new, but there are some domains in which we will increase our focus, such as cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, green society, space safety, and then this entrepreneurship and business applications. So I conclude here. There's a bit more to say about the future of ESA Academy. In fact, I could maybe speak for a few hours, but I don't want to keep the audience busy with that. But we welcome any questions. So we can go to the next slide just to give you some references of where you can find more information about ESA Academy. There is also, I will try to put it in the chat, a link where you can sign up to our newsletter. In case you're interested in taking part in any of the activities, you can receive email messages when a new call for opportunities or a call for applications opens up. And maybe I have one point that I wanted to mention still. Jeffrey has presented Fly Your Satellite, a CubeSat initiative. We have also shown a video of that as an example of what we do. We have also recently, last week, opened new opportunities related to CubeSats, and I know many people in Europe, especially in universities, are working on CubeSat projects, and we have a number of new activities that you can find online to support student teams with either a design, it's called the Design Booster, or with short test opportunities where for a few months you will be working together with us to prepare, execute and post-process a test in one of our clean room facilities on the hardware of your choice. So with that, I would conclude the presentation. Thanks a lot to all for your attention, and I pass the floor back to Florence.
Thank you very, very much, because I think all these activities that you indeed have are extremely interesting. And I would like to be a young student and being in the STEM field. But unfortunately, I'm no longer. So doesn't matter. With this, I would like to ask you, my first question maybe, comes to you, Jeffrey. What would you say to someone who is unsure about participating in one of your programs? Because honestly, it really sounds extremely exciting, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of our students may think they are not, let's say, they don't have all the background to do it. So they may fear, they may wonder if they can participate. And another question, which will be a second part, you or yours can answer, what do you expect in this motivation letter? So one, what would you say to someone who's unsure?
I'll start with the first part of the question. Maybe with a quote. There's do or do not. There is no try. It's a quote from Yoda in Star Wars. But in this, if you don't try, if you don't do it, if you don't send in your application, you will never do it. So, and participation in one of these programs is really a unique opportunity. And I myself, I can know, as I experienced it myself, I participated in Orbit Your Thesis with Oscar Cube. And there's so many programs, and they're all tailored to different levels of students, from industry or university level or practical. There's advanced programs for PhD students. So you really need to evaluate your opportunity that you have. And if there are any doubts, you can just reach out to us and ask us, talk to us, and we'll be able to set you up maybe.
I must say that here I would like also to make a link with our entry-level programs, and in particular the young graduate program. You know how much interest I have in these programs, and because very often we receive applications to the young graduate program, and the candidates have themselves participated in one of your programs. So these also show us the real interest that candidates have in space and in, let's say, all activities led by ESA. So just to say that it's true, I see a lot of candidates having made an experience with the ESA Academy. Now, coming back to my other question, what do you expect when candidates apply to your activities? What is the motivation you want to see? Or do they have to provide a CV or not? What can you say to the potential candidates, future candidates? Jeffrey, Jost, whoever.
Shall I take it, Jeffrey? Okay. Typically for the calls, we provide online through the call a list of deliverables that a candidate should provide. But typically it includes a motivation letter, a CV, a record of the academic, or let's say a copy of the academic records. And what we look for is, of course, motivated people, people that can somehow demonstrate or explain how participating in one of these events can contribute to their future ambitions. The goal is really to support you in reaching your goals in becoming a space professional, for example, or enriching your knowledge with space-related knowledge, because it can complement your work on a thesis or on a PhD study. So yeah, show the motivation, let us understand why you are the right candidate for this profile, a bit like when you are applying for a job, or this could be a sort of training for later job applications.
Okay, I have a few questions for you too, as you know, but I already received, thanks to Miriam, who's working behind scene, we have already received a few questions to you. So I would prefer to start with these questions, if you don't mind, and then I will ask you my questions, maybe more related to your position today, how you came here, etc., etc. So,
of course,
question we have, and then you decide who takes it. Are there also ESA Academy lectures, activities related to law domain, contracts, international public law, or procurement?
Okay,
You mentioned something about that for the future, but I don't know if when it will be implemented and if you have it now already.
Okay, thank you. That's an excellent question. We are working towards a training in the longer future on procurement activities, which is really a discipline in itself. Procurement in international projects with certain specifics applicable within ESA, like the geo-return principle that some of you may know. And when we talk about other elements like business, we have a training on technology transfer and innovation, which also covers some elements on intellectual property, for example, or how do you patent an invention, etc. And then we have space law. Space law is really an important domain. Any space project links back to space law early on or later on in the project development. And often this is a domain that we have seen can be a bit underestimated by engineers if they have the pure engineering focus, let's say. So what we do is we offer a course, for example, on space law for engineers to make engineers aware of the legal aspects of running a space mission, which can be quite demanding, have to be considered early on when preparing for a mission. We see it with CubeSat projects, for example. Many universities undertake them, but there is a non-negligible aspect of space law that has to be considered, that requires interaction with your government, that requires obtaining licenses, etc. So we have very good teachers, lecturers on space law that are offering these courses. And also in other projects, we have space law as a mandatory element. If you take part in projects that are actually being launched to space, you will have to work on law-related documentation or procedures. So this is really covered in all the programs. When you don't have a direct link with space law, still often you will be invited to take part, for example, in a webinar about what is space law, what are the typical, let's say, treaties that are applicable, and so on. So the short answer was yes, there is also this element covered by our opportunities.
Okay, thank you very much, Joost. We have another question, which is, do you have any program that revolves around plant cultivation in zero gravity? And if so, is it something I can apply for?
I can maybe
yes, please.
So
I want
take
to
it, Jeffrey. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
We actually have for the coming year a team doing a spin your thesis experiment on plants, on microcrops actually, and they are doing these experiments in hypergravity to define a pattern in which they can extrapolate it to microgravity. So there is actually research being done on this topic indeed.
Okay. Thank you. Now we have another question. Do you have, maybe it's not exactly for you, but I'm sure you can answer these questions. Do you have any activities focusing on motivating kids to go into space-related field in the future? Maybe bringing ESA directly to their schools?
Very good question.
Very good. Excellent question.
Absolutely. We have plenty of them. They are just not part of ESA Academy. So Academy is really focused on the university level education in the future, maybe also early career professionals and so on. But we have also another pillar of our education office, which is focused on STEM related education for school children and secondary level, meaning from age 6 to 18 typically, and being expanded in the future to starting from 3 years old already. The way we do it is we go to schools from time to time, but this is not our most efficient process. What we have is E0s. So if you are interested in this, I suggest you to Google E0 It's the European Space Education Resource Offices, which are spread across the ESA member states and which serve as our national counterpart. They are funded partially by ESA, partially by the. What ESA does is we prepare, for example, classroom resources as well as trainings for teachers, where we invite teachers from the member states to be trained at our facilities in how can you use space as a context to inspire young children, to not to inspire them to become a space professional, but to inspire them into STEM related education, to spark their interest in engineering, mathematics, and so on. And the ESEROs are also used to serve as the national counterpart that will translate all these resources, for example, into the national language. And they will go into the schools and they will address the children, but in the national language. So this is, again, the short answer, but we have a whole number of activities. We could offer a presentation quite long about the different opportunities. Schools take part in competitions. They also launch products to the International Space Station, where children can then speak with an astronaut or operate a little rover on the space station, and so on. There's quite a lot going on, so I would invite you to go to the STEM part of the ESA Education website for more information on this.
And this brings also me to think about ESA Kids. Is ESA Kids also part of the education?
Exactly. We have our mascot, which is called Paxi. Some of you may know Paxi. And the ESA Kids website, in fact, the ESA Kids website, Florence, I don't know if you will be happy to learn, but it is the most consultant website of the European Space Agency, the most popular one. So there's a lot of games and material on there.
I also consult it because I think that also for adults who are not from engineering and scientist disciplines, it's very interesting because you have the world of space explained with easier words, you know?
Yeah.
So that's good. It's also very good to inspire adults, not only kids.
Fully agreed. Even I learn a lot still on that website.
So yeah, let's go back a bit on other kind of questions, which I wanted to ask you. Our world is continuously and increasingly becoming digitalized, a digitalized world. How is Academy responding, ESA Academy, of course, responding to these expectations from people to, for example, learn online and rather than traveling? Takes that, you, Joost, or Jeffrey, Joost?
Okay, I can try to take it, and if Jeffrey wants to complement. So
yeah, okay.
it's true. We are going through this digitalization, and we are adapting. We have been forced to adapt by the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we used to have mostly on-site events, classroom training at our facilities, workshops where we invite people from all over Europe to gather together. And as a response, of course, we had to adapt, and we have started with online trainings, with organizing lots of webinars, virtual workshops, even virtual hands-on workshops where you have a trainer that is teaching people how to do soldering for space hardware, for example, with special setups and cameras, and then people following this from remotely. And then more, let's say, more in a more structured way, what we are doing is to transition to a program that has a very important e-learning component. So all the projects, all the programs that we presented before in their new forms and shapes will have an e-learning component. And we are working on the development of a platform, an e-learning platform that will allow students to also follow training at their own pace at home or from the university.
Okay, thank you very much, Joost. I have received just now a question from a PhD student who says that some courses indicate they are open for master students not graduating before the end of the program. So this person presumes that PhD students can't join join these courses?
In the programs, it's usually that there is a need for a certain core team. And as soon as the core team is filled up, if there are additional team members that wish to join, then it's not an issue. The main idea for this specific rule is so that there is always team members responsible for the project, and so that is not abandoned. ESA spends a lot of budget as well in these programs, so it would be shameful if there was one of these projects that had gone to waste because some team members left and there were no other team members to fill in the gap, so to say.
Yes, if you are a master student at the moment of the application, but you transition to become a PhD student afterwards, I will double check the information that is referred to, but in principle, you remain fully eligible and this would be no issue. So you can continue to participate in the program then as a PhD student afterwards.
And again, just because, okay, I know you have presented it, but just to repeat it for our audience also. So in the activities that you propose, the teams are composed of PhD students, master students, bachelor students, everybody working together towards the same end product, let's say. Correct, huh?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. We like to see teams of these different levels because with the bachelor students, you have a certain level of continuity if it is a multi-year project. Some projects are 1 year, but some like CubeSats take several years. The bachelor students can help to ensure continuity, while the PhD students can already from the start come with a higher level of experience and skills.
And this brings me also to the question on diversity. Because we're speaking about now diverse backgrounds, so PhD, bachelor, master. Do you also observe quite a variety of diversity in terms of nationalities, let's say, cultural backgrounds, but also I'm interested in the split, let's say, on the gender diversity, because obviously this is very high on our agenda in ESA, also hers with the HR, with the entry-level programs. We also focus on this, on trying to foster this balance. Do you observe also in the ESA Academy that, let's say, even if more and more girls are joining, it's still, let's say, slower than for boys?
Yes, I think I can best answer this. I have the better view on the overall statistics. Let's say when we talk about nationalities, all ESA member states and cooperating states, including Canada, are represented in our activities. And I would really encourage students from any member state. Also, if it is a smaller one or a member state with, let's say, a more recent experience or less experience in space activities, you are extremely welcome in the activities. Also, if your university is not engaged in space-related projects, we often see that participation in an ESA program can be a kick, a boost to, for example, to attract funding at national level for your project or to attract people to the projects. Just to give an example, we have we have several CubeSats that have been launched by us or with us for universities that were the very first space object, the very first satellite of a country. We have launched the first Hungarian satellite. We are about to launch the first Irish satellite, and there are several other examples. So any member state is equally eligible, but we do encourage people from the newer member states to really come and apply and help to, let's say, boost the space sector in your country as well. When it comes to diversity in terms of gender, we still have a long way to go. Nowadays, we have seen, let's say, if we compare with 10 years ago, we see a drastic improvement. That is already good. But today, when we look at the applications, about 1/4 of the applications are coming from girls or from women. And here we would, of course, like to see a trend that further improves to have a more equal balance. And this is something where our colleagues from the STEM part that are working towards
Yes.
targeting schools and secondary level education, they're also working hard to attract girls to STEM education, and this way to, let's say, create the basis for a higher number of women also in the professional sector.
Okay, so just to conclude on this point, we can only encourage girls and women to apply to the ESA Academy activities.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Let me just check if I have a burning question now. Okay, I will now go back a little bit to your background and what you are doing. So, you two, Jeffrey, Joost, so let's say, Jeffrey, what is one of your typical day in the ESA Academy? And what is cool about it? What do you like it? What makes you happy in the morning when you get up and go to school, I was going to say, to work?
To work, yeah. Well, to start off, it's really that there's not a lot of typical days in the normal sense of an office job. For me, there's quite some variations, and as a YGT for the gravity-related experiments, I follow up on all the teams that participate in the spin, drop, fly, and orbit your thesis programs. So it ranges from reading proposals to organizing meetings with the teams themselves or meetings between team and experts, going over their documentation. If it's a proposal, verifying that it's feasible to do such an experiment on the proposed platform, but also ensuring that milestones and deadlines are kept. So in short, I interact with students and the platform experts to provide the students with a closest possible approach to a professional version of these experiments. And on top of that, there's also critical design reviews, flight acceptance reviews, and of course campaigns once all of these reviews are done and the students can actually perform their experiment.
So it's very varied, actually.
It's indeed very varied, and what's cool about it, it's of course the campaigns, because you see the students, especially now, you mostly see the students for the first time in real life after COVID, to do their experiments. That's where it all comes together, and you see their smiles and their excitement, and that gives a nice break from the regular office days, so to say. And one of the coolest ones, like Joost already mentioned a bit, is of course the Flyer Thesis campaign, in which not only the experiment, but also the experimenters, the students, and the crew that assists them is flying on a parabolic flight.
Okay, and I was just now thinking, Joost, we are currently, in the selection process for the young graduate campaign this year. But for next year, I'm sure that you, Jeffrey, can only encourage our potential candidates to apply to a position in the ESA Academy. And you, Joost, what kind of profile do you look for? Which kind of talent, as we say, do you look for in the ESA Academy?
Well, within our section, we typically look for two types of profiles. One is students that have a background in or interest in education, so that have knowledge on didactics, on organizing training activities, on organizing events, etc., with some basic knowledge of space or space engineering or science. Second, we have a number of people like Jeffrey. Jeffrey worked with Orbit Your Thesis by the way, on the very first quantum magnetometer that is currently being operated from the International Space Station. So here you see a skilled engineer with more in-depth knowledge on engineering. And this is the type of profile that we seek for the hands-on projects, where we have the mandate to review the design documentation, to help to go to universities, to help to build their experiments or to prototype it, or to work in our clean room laboratory to run tests. So we have the more technical profiles that we seek for those type of positions.
Okay, thank you. And in terms of, I would say, more soft skills, what would you say is important or most important?
Well, you work in an international environment, so you need to have some cultural awareness. Let's say you need to be able to work with people from different nationalities, but different cultures, really. Language skills can, of course, help, but also communication skills, being able to present, to address a group of professionals or students. Our colleagues have to interface a lot with specialists from the different ESA directorates. So you need to be able to both understand the technical inputs that you get, but also to collaborate with them closely, to be diplomatic enough when they don't deliver something for a deadline, so that you don't go and beat them, but that you try to gently push them to provide your inputs. These are things that I see as soft skills. It's a matter of communication, of, let's say, yeah, diplomacy,
Yeah.
people management to some extent. This is really important. And by the way, when we have exchanged with industry quite a lot in the past year as part of our preparation of the future, this is really what industry is also asking. They find
Yes.
engineers with the hard engineering skills, but they are looking for people with a multidisciplinary background that also have good soft skills, communication, and so on. It's really crucial.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say, because that's also what we say in HR, is that the soft skills are equally, if not more, important as the technical knowledge. And these soft skills you develop by working, by doing, by being with others. So probably, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say that these experiences make with you are extremely also important to develop these competencies, these soft skills that they will continue to develop by in their professional life, let's say. And also another thing which comes to my mind is this networking within ESA, or with in future maybe also industry, but within ESA they have the possibility to develop a network, correct?
Exactly, exactly. We see students that took part in our activities. They are becoming our colleagues as well. They are joining
Yeah.
ESA, our industry, and we start to work with them under professional partnerships, or as they become experts, providing us support to the programs. And these people, they already have a network in ESA, because they know, if I need a product assurance engineer, I remember that this person was really good at that, or I need an electronic specialist, or I need the guy that was good with glue. So they already build a network and build some relationships indeed within the sector.
It's nearly time to conclude, but before that, I would like to ask you two, and I will start with Joost. What makes you proud of heading the ESA Academy? ESA Academy.
Okay, what makes me proud? Let's say what makes me happy when I come to work
Be
every
proud.
morning.
No, what makes you
Um,
proud, happy?
yeah, yeah.
What is it?
Well, if I talk about what makes me happy, it is the atmosphere. I mean, for me, it
Okay.
is really remarkable to be working in an agency where I have the impression that everybody around me, all the colleagues that I meet on a day-to-day basis or when I visit other sites, everybody's passionate. Everybody is happy that they can work in this sector, that they can work on ambitious projects. And that's really a pleasure. And what makes me proud is that we are helping to prepare for the future of the European space sector, or even the global space sector. We are aiming at least to help young people to be ready to work on the future flagship programs, to help addressing societal issues, challenges that we have, to address things like space debris or mega constellations, or to work on the future exploration missions. And that's extremely rewarding. It's very, very pleasant to interact with students, with young professionals that took part in this. And that makes me proud. And the day that you see a launch lifting off, or a launcher lifting off with an experiment that you helped to build, or for which you provided support to universities, it is so rewarding. It gives you adrenaline and it gives a boost to continue. So every day is a pleasure in a sense.
Just to say, I was with you recently in an event where you presented educational activities, and I must say, yes, it's also really a boost also to be part and be let's say together with students who have an interest in our space activities. This is really rewarding, I think, for you.
Exactly.
And you, Jeffrey, what makes you proud of working in the ESA Academy?
Well, it's a combination of things. It's you're teaching, you're helping and guiding students, and especially at campaign days, you when everything is going according to plan, experiments are successful, you see their faces.
That never happens, Jeffrey.
It does, and or when you have a liftoff of your Oscar cube to the ISS, the pure joy and the release of happiness is really nice to see and witness.
Well, I think you really have a cool job, as we say. It's a great team, and I mentioned it at the beginning. I have seen so many applications of young graduate trainees who have participated in your activities that I really see that you do something to raise interest and the motivation of our young generations, you know. And with this word, I think that it will be now time to conclude. And I don't know if you have a last word that you want to say to the audience.
On my side, no. Just thank you to the audience. If you have further questions, you can always address us. Just write to us, call us, or look us up on the website. But I really hope to see some of you in our activities or as colleagues later. And then, if some of you become my boss later on, please just be kind to me. Thanks a lot.
Very smart words.
You want to say something?
I can only concur with Joost.
Okay. As for me, I will also thank everybody. Everybody also to consult the education site, because I think you can learn a lot also from that. And I will thank you, Jeffrey, Joost, for being here with us and presenting the ESA Academy. And thank the audience. And we will now leave you with our video, which ends our programs. And I say thank you to everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.